Post-training notice. National First Class Registered Exorcist. Chapter 10. Gish. You didn't tell me not to come out. Zhi Xiaoduo said, you didn't say that. Xiang Cheng. Zhi Xiaoduo started laughing as Xiang Cheng dragged him by the hand to the Land Rover. Zhi Xiaoduo wanted to climb up after him, but Xiang Cheng pushed him to stand outside, turned on the light in the car, and bent over to rummage through his duffel bag. Zhi Xiaoduo looked on curiously as Xiang Cheng rummaged through his bag again and again. It seemed as though he had forgotten something as his brow furrowed. What's the matter? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. Xiang Cheng asked, have you seen a snuff bottle? Zhi Xiaoduo shook his head and said, I haven't touched your bag, ah. Xiang Cheng's expression was irritated and he looked at Zhi Xiaoduo, completely helpless. Zhi Xiaoduo gave Xiang Cheng an inquisitive glance and Xiang Cheng said, go back to the room. No matter what happens, you're not allowed to come out. Can you do that? Zhi Xiaoduo said, okay, is this yours? He took out the statuette and parchment from his pocket. Xiang Cheng glanced at Zhi Xiaoduo and gave up the plan to let him go back to his room. Get in the car, Xiang Cheng said instead. What are we going to do? Zhi Xiaoduo was terribly nervous. Xiang Cheng replied, fasten your seat belt. Xiang Cheng backed up and left the parking space. The moon was hidden behind the clouds, so after passing the front door of the inn, it was completely dark. Zhi Xiaoduo was both scared and excited. Was Xiang Cheng taking him out to do a mission? What did they mean by your ditty has been marked by a Yao? Why are you taking me out? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. Because you won't listen to me and just stay in the room. Xiang Cheng replied, I can't hypnotize anyone either and I didn't bring any key items that would make you fall asleep. I'll listen to you, Zhi Xiaoduo said. If you're in some kind of dilemma, I'll go back and wait for you, okay? It's just that I'm worried about you, I heard so much just now under the tree. I promise I won't eavesdrop anymore, turn around and send me back ba. Forget it, Xiang Cheng said. I'm afraid something will happen to you. It's still safer for you to come with me. Zhi Xiaoduo kept feeling as though Xiang Cheng was going off to do something important. Bay, do something for me. Xiang Cheng suddenly thought of something and asked, can your cell phone go online? Search for Gish. Zhi Xiaoduo said, Gish, a kind of 9-headed monster bird, can eat souls, will kill people, and will bleed on roofs. It used to have 10 heads but one was bitten off by a dog, so it often bleeds. Wherever the Gish goes, there will be natural and man-made disasters, but it is afraid of light and it will get dizzy when light shines on it. Xiang Cheng thought about it and said, wait here. Xiang Cheng got out of the car and went back to the inn. A moment later, there was a commotion from inside the inn, and the little sister who was the night guard called out, who's there? Xiang Cheng ran towards the Land Rover with an emergency light that he had removed from the wall and he tossed it to Zhi Xiaoduo. The night guard chased him outside, but Xiang Cheng quickly got in the car and drove along the mountain road. Zhi Xiaoduo held the emergency light as the corner of his mouth twitched. Have you seen anyone lately? Xiang Cheng let out a breath and said, for example, some unusual people. Zhi Xiaoduo. Zhi Xiaoduo asked, I've been marked by a Yao, what does that mean? Literally that. Xiang Cheng said, do you think there are Yaoguai around you? Zhi Xiaoduo was puzzled. He thought about it, and said, Yaoguai. Does the finance guy in our design department count? Xiang Cheng asked while driving, what's he like? Zhi Xiaoduo replied, he constantly has his fingers up in orchid fingers and wears florals. Xiang Cheng. Zhi Xiaoduo said with a laugh, and he often shakes his hips around, singing Lady Gaga in his deep voice. Xiang Cheng, I don't mean that. Lady Ga what? What's that? Are you cold? Zhi Xiaoduo was shrunk in on himself in the front passenger seat and he turned his head to look at Xiang Cheng from the side. When the car left the inn's road, street lights started to appear, and Xiang Cheng drove the car attentively. Zhi Xiaoduo looked at his profile and thought, he's really so hot, ah. Then he thought about why he was still ready to jump his bones right now. Zhi Xiaoduo, there's no saving you. A little bit. Zhi Xiaoduo had started sweating when he had eavesdropped just now, so now he was cold. Xiang Cheng held the steering wheel in one hand, took off his sports coat with the other, and covered Zhi Xiaoduo up with it. Xiang Cheng's jacket smelled very comforting and Zhi Xiaoduo hugged his jacket while Xiang Cheng said, "Put it on." Zhi Xiaoduo felt much warmer and Xiang Cheng said, "In a bit, follow me. Don't talk, don't say anything." Zhi Xiaoduo let out an N, but he was actually a bit sleepy. He thought that Xiang Cheng might be taking him to a very dangerous place, but he trusted him. "You just believe in me that much?" Xiang Cheng said, getting in the car without even yelling or kicking up a fuss. "What if I wanted to hurt you?" "You won't." Zhi Xiaoduo leaned against the window, looked at Xiang Cheng and said, "Subconscious instinct." "What?" Xiang Cheng glanced at Zhi Xiaoduo. He didn't know why, but a hazy scene emerged in Zhi Xiaoduo's mind. It seemed like Xiang Cheng had saved him in a dream, and it also seemed like intuition from the bottom of his heart. "I think something must have happened to us," Zhi Xiaoduo said strangely. "But I can't remember." Xiang Cheng didn't speak as Zhi Xiaoduo continued, "Whatever happened makes me think that you are very reliable, but I really can't remember exactly what is it." Xiang Cheng stopped far away from the fence and said, "Get out of the car." Zhi Xiaoduo got out of the car, and Xiang Cheng said, "Take my bag and from here on out, stay close to me. No matter what happens, don't take even a single step away from me." "All right." Zhi Xiaoduo rubbed his eyes and while wearing Xiang Cheng's sports coat, slung his sports bag across his shoulder and followed him. During the Qin and Han dynasties, Lianhua Mountain had been a huge natural quarry, covering an area of 25,000 mu. When Lingnan was still South Vietnam, Zhao Tuo had excavated the mountain to collect stones. After 2,000 years of water erosion, many man-made or natural quarries had been left behind from the summit to the foot of the mountain. When night fell, everything changed. Their surroundings became craggy and terrifying, as if ferocious giants were all around them. However, the lights on the opposite side of the Pearl River estuary were blinking and the night sky was diffused with dark red light, so it wasn't too terrifying. Zhi Xiaoduo looked around everywhere, and Xiang Cheng crouched down, letting him step on his back and climb up, saying, "Don't take off your shoes." Xiang Cheng looked big when he took off his clothes and looked thin when he wore them. The muscles all over his body held explosive power. As soon as Zhi Xiaoduo stepped onto him, Xiang Cheng put both his hands up to support him, then helped him lift his feet up. Zhi Xiaoduo easily flipped over the wall, and Xiang Cheng flew over in the blink of an eye, picking him up and starting to run like mad. Zhi Xiaoduo was confused and disoriented, and two of them landed on a rough stone. Not far away was a cave. Xiang Cheng looked through his bag and took out some colorful little things from it. Zhi Xiaoduo curiously asked, "What is that?" Xiang Cheng, "Stay here and don't move." Zhi Xiaoduo hurried to return them to Xiang Cheng. Xiang Cheng asked Zhi Xiaoduo to sit in the middle of the stone and arranged the colored stone guardians in a circle. "Sit and play with your cell phone." Xiang Cheng took over his bag and said, "No matter what happens, you can't shout." "Okay, okay." Zhi Xiaoduo replied. Xiang Cheng was about to leave, but after thinking about it, he was still a little worried. He came back, glanced at Zhi Xiaoduo's cell phone and asked, "Do you like listening to music?" Zhi Xiaoduo, N. Xiang Cheng scrolled through his cell phone, and it was almost all English songs. He casually chose a Chinese song, turned it to the maximum volume, and helped him put on his earphones. Zhi Xiaoduo sat in the ring of stone guardians and looked out curiously. The song he had picked was "Angel Comes to Europe." Ping An's voice rang in Zhi Ziaduo's ears in the midst of this romantic night, just like the sounds of nature. From the quarry came the faint sound of a bird's call. Xiang Cheng turned around, took out the demon-subduing staff and Yao-binding rope from the bag, bit down on a stack of red paper, then put his bag down. Then he signaled to Zhi Ziaduo to hold the emergency light and face it in a certain direction. Before then he quickly ran into the quarry in that direction. Zhi Ziaduo. He hadn't brought a gun, so what exactly was he up to? Zhi Ziaduo frowned deeply and stared at the direction that Xiang Cheng had left in. Suddenly, a sharp scream pierced through his earphones. Zhi Ziaduo thought that there was something wrong with the music, so he looked down at his cell phone and slid the volume up and down. Ping An emotionally sang, "I want a girl who wanna say love you." A nine-headed bird sprang onto Xiang Cheng and tumbled down from a high place. Xiang Cheng flipped back and retreated, shouted angrily, and pushed the Yao-subduing staff forward with one hand. The demon-subduing staff turned into a silver plate and blocked the blood mist that the nine-headed bird spat out. It rushed in, and Xiang Cheng then rushed forward, pushing the monster bird back into the quarry again. Zhi Ziaduo. Zhi Ziaduo finished adjusting the volume and raised his head. It felt as though something had happened, and there was a strange sound in the distance. He keenly picked up his cell phone and started filming a video while pointing it in the direction that Xiang Cheng had left. I could never stop. They say that the speed of events couldn't keep up with the speed of narration, and Xiang Cheng shot out like a cannonball. Zhi Ziaduo. Zhi Ziaduo was about to take off his earphones when Xiang Cheng limped and ran over to Zhi Ziaduo. Zhi Ziaduo rushed out but Xiang Cheng roared, "Don't move. Stay where you are." Zhi Ziaduo didn't hear him. He helped Xiang Cheng up and the two of them entered the protective circle of the stone amulets. Zhi Ziaduo took off his earphones but Xiang Cheng held his head and crouched down to shield Zhi Ziaduo with his body. In an instant, Zhi Ziaduo looked up and saw a scene that completely overturned his outlook of the world. A huge monster bird with black fire all over its body rushed out of the quarry. Xiang Cheng's shining silver metal stick stuck out of its chest as it hurtled towards Zhi Ziaduo and Xiang Cheng. The nine heads roared together, spitting out 9 black plumes of fire that crisscrossed, converging into a powerful torrent, shooting right at them. Zhi Ziaduo's mouth dropped open and he stared blankly at the sky. However, the next moment, the 7 stone guardians around him let out an earth-shaking roar at the same time. They turned into mythical beasts and one by one, they leapt towards the sky. The first stone guardian counteracted the black flame. The second and third ones were blown to pieces. Then the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh ones were 4 transparent, luminous beasts which pounced on the monster bird, grabbing and biting at it randomly. The monster bird fell down, bleeding all over. Zhi Ziaduo. Zhi Ziaduo strongly wondered whether or not he was still dreaming. His eyes were wide open, and his pupils were slack. Looking at the sky, Xiang Cheng turned over his bag with one hand. His other arm quickly blocked Zhi Ziaduo's eyes and face, and he shouted in his ear, "Don't be afraid." Zhi Ziaduo was already completely stunned. Ping An's voice was still singing in the earphones. "I fell in love, I fell in love." That monster bird rammed into them, and Xiang Cheng suddenly bent over and flew out with Zhi Ziaduo's cell phone. The monster bird rolled around painfully on the ground. The stone guardians only existed for a few seconds, and the monster bird hissed and struggled. Xiang Cheng took out a folded red cloth from his bag and rushed forward. "My cell phone!" Zhi Ziaduo cried. Xiang Cheng picked up the cell phone that had fallen onto the ground and with a wave of his hand, threw it at him. Zhi Ziaduo knelt on the ground, trembling as he clicked to take pictures. He raised his head, opened his mouth, stared at a daze at the scene in front of him, and finally reacted to it. What was this? Damn it! What was this? Xiang Cheng shook out the red cloth, and just like in a bullfight, the red cloth flew in the wind. However, the geese bird refused to give up. Its several heads squinted and shook as it faced the light from the emergency light, and the 4 heads that were not facing the light started to howl at the sky. Bind! Xiang Cheng roared, then shook out the red cloth, and it wrapped around the giant bird. At the last moment, the 9-headed bird flapped one of its wings, stepped back, took off, and began to spin. This spinning produced a hurricane of wind. Xiang Cheng's Yao binding failed, and he was blown out ass over tea kettle, dangling on a branch. The 9-headed bird suddenly spread its wings and rushed at Xiang Cheng. With a crash, both the monster bird and Xiang Cheng slammed through the tops of the trees and fell down. Xiang Cheng's vest was clawed and tattered, and his chest was full of red marks. Then several beaks pecked at Xiang Cheng's eyes at the same time. Zhi Xiaoduo roared and rushed over with the emergency light in his arms, waving it wildly at the monster bird. The monster bird immediately let out a cry, and the harsh scream made Zhi Xiaoduo felt dizzy. Xiang Cheng held him in front of him as he cleared off from the ground backwards into the air. He protected Zhi Xiaoduo with his shoulders, and shook the corner of the red cloth with the other hand, trying to bind it again. However, Zhi Xiaoduo started yelling. His left ankle was caught tightly by the monster bird, and started lifting him up. "Damn it!" Zhi Xiaoduo cried. "Careful!" Xiang Cheng held Zhi Xiaoduo's waist and didn't let go. The monster bird let out a ferocious cry and carried the 2 of them higher and higher. Zhi Xiaoduo. Zhi Xiaoduo was upside down and everything around him was spinning. The monster bird carried Zhi Xiaoduo while Zhi Xiaoduo was being carried by Xiang Cheng. The 2 of them hung upside down as they flew into the sky. The earth spun non-stop as it also grew further and further away. Xiang Cheng tried to wave the red cloth upward but he couldn't get it up there. Zhi Xiaoduo. The monster bird flew high into the air, and Zhi Xiaoduo's eyes were now filled with stars. "What do we do?" Zhi Xiaoduo screamed. "What the hell is this? I was wrong. I shouldn't have followed you out." Xiang Cheng grit his teeth and trapped Zhi Xiaoduo's waist between his feet. He flipped up by crunching his abs and did his best to observe the surrounding terrain. "What is it doing?" Zhi Xiaoduo was dragged around by the monster bird flying here and there, and his wide streams of tears were flying in the spring breeze. "It's going to smash us into meat patties." Xiang Cheng gritted his teeth. "All right, ba." Zhi Xiaoduo began to let out his last words. "Goodbye boss, goodbye mom and dad, goodbye Wang Ren, goodbye bestie, goodbye finances." Xiang Cheng. "It can't fly that high." Xiang Cheng roared, "I'll count off 1, 2, 3 and you push me up. I'll bind it, you hold on to me and we'll fall into the water. We won't die from that." They were both hanging upside down, and Zhi Xiaoduo screamed, "I can't swim." "And it heard you. It's flying up the mountain now." Xiang Cheng. Zhi Xiaoduo looked down and they were over 10 meters away from the ground at this point. The monster bird was obviously trying its best to lift them up high and then throw them down. This height was obviously not enough, and because they wouldn't die from falling into the water, it left the Pearl River and flew towards the mountains. "Next time, I definitely have to bring the umbrella," Xiang Cheng shouted. "Do you have a flashlight app? Shine it on its left." Zhi Xiaoduo hurriedly turned on the flashlight app on his cell phone and shone it against the left side of the monster bird. When it shone in its eyes, the monster bird screamed, tilted, and almost dumped the 2 people off. "Good," Xiang Cheng said, again. Zhi Xiaoduo shone it again, and the monster bird lost its balance and started plummeting towards its left. "Jump!" Xiang Cheng shouted. Then, biting the red cloth, he vigorously flipped over, grabbed the golden hook hanging there, and pulled out the demon-subduing staff from the monster bird's chest. The 9-headed bird spewed out a mouthful of blood and it shook them off, a trail of blood hovering in the air behind. Zhi Xiaoduo spun and spun, flying towards the Wanghai Guanyin statue in the middle of Lianhua Mountain. "Hold on tight, don't let go." Soldiers fighting the battle. Xiang Cheng said, then landed on the Guanyin statue's shoulder. Zhi Xiaoduo's entire body arced through the air, his body thrown out, his hands tightly holding onto Xiang Cheng's waist. His hands were stopped by Xiang Cheng's belt, his feet slipped, and he frantically tried to hold himself steady on whatever he could step on. Xiang Cheng took the opportunity to shake the red cloth outward. March forward in formation. All Yao disperse. Bind. There was a huala sound, and the red sheets instantly turned into billowing red clouds, spreading out to blot out the sky. In the dark night, it shone with a golden light. Between the motionless boundary between heaven and earth, the image of Akela appeared from the abyss. A profound hush fell and the sky sang. To Zhi Xiaoduo's consternation, the sheet was getting bigger and bigger, catching up with the nine-headed bird, head unwrapping the Yaoguai up. Xiang Cheng pulled it back, and the Yaoguai wrapped in red cloth, now an irregularly shaped lump in the cloth, rolled around crazily. Suddenly, the Yaoguai disappeared, turning into a five-colored Yaoguai embroidered on the red cloth. There was a flash of light, then it dimmed and the world calmed down again. Zhi Xiaoduo. Xiang Cheng. Zhi Xiaoduo hugged Xiang Cheng's waist, raised his head and stared at him. Xiang Cheng let out a breath, and the two people looked at each other for 3 seconds. The first thing that Zhi Xiaoduo did was to slightly lift up the hands that were around Xiang Cheng's waist and then lightly smacked him a few times. "It's all right, ba," Xiang Cheng said. "So hot." Zhi Xiaoduo's brain couldn't come up with anything much at the moment, so this was his only comment on what had happened tonight. "Thank you," Xiang Cheng said sincerely. "But how do we get down?" Zhi Xiaoduo looked down. The two people looked down together. The Wanghai Guanyin statue was over 40 meters tall, and the two of them stood on the Guanyin statue's shoulder as the sun rose gradually in the distance. End chapter. Post-training notice. National First-Class Registered Exorcist. Chapter 11. Moving houses. Half an hour later, the sun rose, and Xiang Cheng pulled on the red rope while Zhi Xiaoduo gripped Xiang Cheng's back. The two of them slowly made their way to the ground. Xiang Cheng held the bundle of Yao binding rope, pinched his index and middle finger together, and made a circle in the air with them. The red rope tied around the Guanyin statue's neck untied itself and fell down. Zhi Xiaoduo's legs were trembling and he nearly collapsed. Xiang Cheng, with Zhi Xiaoduo on his back, ran to the Land Rover. He backed up to pick up his things, destroyed the scene of the crime, took the stone guardians away and left Lianhua Mountain. "Where are we going?" Zhi Xiaoduo asked. "Why aren't we going back to the inn?" "I can't go on anymore, I'm so sleepy." Zhi Xiaoduo didn't ask any questions about what had happened, his mind was completely muddled. Xiang Cheng said, "You sleep first, and when you get up, I'll explain it to you." Zhi Xiaoduo said, "You won't leave, right?" "No," Xiang Cheng replied, "go to sleep ba." Xiang Cheng put the hood of his sports coat on Zhi Xiaoduo's face. Zhi Xiaoduo was both sleepy and tired, and leaning in the front passenger seat, he suddenly thought of something. Were there really Yao in this world? Grandma had said so before, and when Zhi Xiaoduo had been very young, he seemed to have met a black thing. He had bumped into it on a beach. It had a similar feel to Xiang Cheng's monster bird, but one was a fish while the other was a bird. Zhi Xiaoduo thought to himself blearily that this world was really magical. Not only was there Xiang Cheng catching Yao, but also the big black fish he had met when he was a child. His mind was a mess, but he gradually fell asleep. Xiang Cheng wore a tattered singlet as he drove back to Guangzhou. He parked in front of the club, went inside to get the snuff bottle, changed his singlet, got back in the car and closed the door. He uncovered Zhi Xiaoduo's face that was covered with the jacket. Zhi Xiaoduo was deep asleep, breathing evenly, as the sun shone down on his face. Xiang Cheng looked at him for a while, then looked at the snuff bottle in his hand, seemingly a little hesitant. A silver bird flew over, lighting at the window, staring at Xiang Cheng. Xiang Cheng said to the bird, "He won't go out and talk about it. This one time, I promise, just this once." The bird tilted its head, its bright eyes reflecting Xiang Cheng's handsome face. Xiang Cheng sighed. He reached out and rubbed Zhi Ziaduo's head. "I'm sorry," Xiang Cheng said seriously, then opened the snuff bottle and shook it across Zhi Ziaduo's face. Zhi Ziaduo sneezed, turned his head uncomfortably and then continued to sleep. Xiang Cheng was silent for a long time. He put his hand on the steering wheel and wearily leaned his head against it. After a moment, he raised his head, smoked a cigarette, threw the cigarette butt out of the window and headed back to Panyu. On the way back, when they were in line to pass the toll station, Xiang Cheng thought of something and scrolled through Zhi Ziaduo's phone. "Ziaduo, I'm sorry," Xiang Cheng said to himself, and then deleted the video of them subduing the Yao last night from his cell phone. Seeing photos of himself, he carefully scrutinized them for a while before chuckling and putting it back into Zhi Ziaduo's trouser pocket. Zhi Ziaduo was fast asleep the entire way there. When they got to the inn, Xiang Cheng first stuck his head out to look around and saw Wang Ren and the others playing mahjong in the backyard. He then picked Zhi Ziaduo up and quietly crept back to their room. He helped him take off his coat, then pulled up the quilt and covered himself and Zhi Ziaduo. He put one hand on his pillow and adjusted their positions from last night so that Zhi Ziaduo could hold him again, and then fell asleep. 10 minutes later, Wang Ren knocked on the door. "Qi Xiao Mola." Zhi Ziaduo was about to die from his headache. His whole body was entangled with Xiang Cheng's, and Xiang Cheng spread out his arm, letting him pillow his head on it. Just as he was sleeping soundly, Wang Ren knocked on the door from outside and said in a loud voice, "Get up. Don't sleep anymore. Have breakfast and then we're going fishing." Xiang Cheng let out an affirmative noise, got up and touched Zhi Ziaduo's head. Zhi Ziaduo was laid face down as Xiang Cheng brushed his teeth and washed his face as if nothing had happened. Xiang Cheng asked, "Sleep some more?" Zhi Ziaduo agreed. He felt that his throat really hurt and his head also hurt. Xiang Cheng touched his face, and his expression changed. "Are you sick?" Xiang Cheng asked tensely. "It seems that I am, a little bit." Zhi Ziaduo's throat was burning with a fiery pain. Xiang Cheng did not expect that Zhi Ziaduo would get sick. He was a little flustered and hurriedly said, "You sleep." Zhi Ziaduo was sick and his voice had gone hoarse. He guessed that it was because he had been working overtime for a week that once he relaxed after being so tired, he had fallen sick. His throat felt like it was on fire, he had a cold and his nose was stuffed up. He lamented in his heart that it was really too depressing this time. He had finally gotten a rare opportunity to have fun with Xiang Cheng, but he turned around and caused trouble for him instead. Xiang Cheng went down to the farmstead's landlady to borrow a thermometer and took his temperature. He really had a fever with his temperature being 39 degrees. Xiang Cheng nearly dropped the thermometer at that. Zhi Ziaduo said, "I'll be fine after taking some fever-reducing medicine. Don't worry about me." Cough. Cough. Xiang Cheng said, "I'll take you down the mountain to see a doctor." There just so happened to be a couple living next door and the man was a doctor. He came to take a look at Zhi Ziaduo and said, "It's okay, it's not a viral cold." He just yelled too much, and his throat got inflamed. "Have you been frightened and blown around in the wind recently?" Xiang Cheng. Zhi Ziaduo said weakly, "No, I never yell." Xiang Cheng lectured, "Told you not to yell." Wang Ren also came over and said, "How are you even hoarse? What did you two do last night? I didn't hear the little mola fish in the pond crying out." Everyone. The doctor kindly said, "The weather is often cold right now, so it's better to still wear some clothes when you go to bed at night. I'll prescribe some medicine for him to take, so just rest on the mountain and drink some porridge." Zhi Ziaduo's tears were pouring out with a hualala as he complained inwardly, I was wearing clothes, you guys, don't be like this okay, while also feeling like there really was true love in this world. He lay sick in bed, watching Xiang Cheng go and buy him some medicine. After taking the medicine, Xiang Cheng also brought him congee, and it was even white rice congee at that. His boss also came to see Zhi Ziaduo. Xiang Cheng told Zhi Ziaduo's boss that they were cousins. After waiting upon Zhi Ziaduo, he moved over a chair and sat there, reading. Lady Ga, what? Xiang Cheng suddenly asked, what is that? Lady Ga, what? Zhi Ziaduo asked, confused. Xiang Cheng waved his hand and didn't ask any more questions. Zhi Ziaduo suddenly realized what was going on. He said, she's a singer. Give me your cell phone, I'll download one of her songs for you. Xiang Cheng said, I can't listen to music on my cell phone. Next time, ba. Zhi Ziaduo felt that his whole body was about to fall apart. He scratched a bit and found that there were red marks on his arm, as if he had been chafed there at some point, and there were some black bruises on his legs. What's the matter? Xiang Cheng asked. Zhi Ziaduo said, it's nothing, I don't know where I bumped into something. Sometimes there will be some inexplicable small wounds on my body, and I don't know where they came from. Does that happen often? Xiang Cheng asked. Zhi Ziaduo replied, not often at all, ba. They were silent for a moment, then, you go and have fun, ba. Not going. Go ahead, ba. Zhi Ziaduo pleaded. Xiang Cheng's face sank, and Zhi Ziaduo had to stop talking. Zhi Ziaduo couldn't help wailing in his heart, how could things be so disappointing? He had caused him trouble again, and while Wang Ren and the others who after coming by to see him, had gone up the mountain to enjoy the flowers without consulting anyone. Xiang Cheng, who was left behind, sat in his room, staring at him in a daze. The door was open, and the light in the farmstead inn was very good. The window was also open, and they had a perfect view of the peach tree in the yard. A child kicked the peach tree, and petals flew around under the sun. Zhi Ziaduo slept some more, and then he looked at Xiang Cheng, his entire body wilted as he said, I'm sorry. Xiang Cheng heard this, and his expression turned into one of him not knowing what the best thing to say would be. His eyes flashed with the feeling that he was at a loss regarding what was going on. I'm sorry. Xiang Cheng said, it's my fault that I didn't take good care of you. Are you usually very busy? Zhi Ziaduo smiled and asked, let's come again next time. I'm not busy. Xiang Cheng said, next time I'll take you to another place to have fun to make up for this. It's my fault this time. It's all because I didn't take good care of you. Don't blame yourself. Zhi Ziaduo was moved, sad, and embarrassed all at the same time. He replied with a yes, yes, and that he definitely wasn't thinking like that. Xiang Cheng went out to avoid him and answered his phone. It seemed that someone was looking for him, and his sword-like eyebrows twisted up as he said, stop rambling, I'm hanging up now. Xiang Cheng didn't seem very polite to the person on the phone, and Zhi Ziaduo couldn't help but worry. He had thought that Xiang Cheng was very good to himself before, but he didn't expect that he could be so serious sometimes, and he was even more bewitching when he was serious. Was that one of your clients? Zhi Ziaduo asked. No, Xiang Cheng replied. Zhi Ziaduo, if it is, it's okay if you go first. Xiang Cheng, it's not a client. You have a sore throat, don't talk. Zhi Ziaduo had no choice but to not ask any more questions. Xiang Cheng answered a few more phone calls, all of which he took after leaving the room. Finally, he simply turned off his phone. Zhi Ziaduo suddenly discovered that Xiang Cheng seemed to have never played with his cell phone in front of him, and also seldom made calls. Only today did it feel like his phone was ringing incessantly. Xiang Cheng kept him company and took care of him the whole day. Zhi Xiaoduo slept until it was dark, and his dreams were a mess. In the evening, his friends came back and checked in on him again. The next day, Zhi Xiaoduo got up at noon and felt better after taking some medicine. However, their spring outing was already over. Zhi Xiaoduo was sitting in Wang Ren's car. When they were going to go down the mountain, the peach blossoms had pretty much all fallen, and he really wanted to slam his head against something and die. Xiang Cheng stood by the car and waited for them to leave before getting on. Something had come up, so he had to get back to the club. Zhi Xiaoduo waved goodbye to Xiang Cheng and kept looking at his car as they drove away. Wang Ren drove with a bored look on his face as he said, "You went way too far in getting a room with him, ba, you even caught a cold and your throat is hoarse." "Hey, what can I even say to that? It wasn't like that," Zhi Xiaoduo said through gritted teeth. He reached into his pocket and found a round thing, and when he took it out, he saw that it was a round-headed stone guardian. Zhi Xiaoduo immediately turned to look behind him and saw Xiang Cheng still standing on the side of the road, looking down at their tire marks on the ground. This must be from Xiang Cheng. Zhi Xiaoduo was happy again. Looking at the scenery at the foot of the mountain, Zhi Xiaoduo thought that he might have really fallen in love with him. But he had fallen in love with a duck. Moreover, he still didn't have any money. This was really the number one most depressing thing in his life. They had gone out to have fun this time, but he pretty much hadn't been able to have fun, and it was really deathly embarrassing. Zhi Xiaoduo first reported to his bestie that Xiang Cheng had probably never topped her cousin, and there was nothing to make him suspect that they were cheating. Of course, he didn't mention how they had been colleagues, so as to not give rise to more ambiguity. His best friend said, "You're dumb, you just believe whatever he says. He's very honest." Zhi Xiaoduo said, "His name is even Xiang Cheng. You cannot believe it, but isn't it better to just believe it? People sometimes just have to be a little dumb. Don't be so inquisitive." His friend had no choice but to give up. The city of flowers grew warmer day by day, and with this, Zhi Xiaoduo's loving heart also grew restless and eager for action. "Do you think we will be happy if I take him in as a sugar baby?" Zhi Xiaoduo used another phone to chat with his bestie while holding up his cell phone and staring at the side profile of Xiang Cheng, with ice cream on his lips, smiling ambiguously at him. The more he looked at him, the more he liked him. His tongue was even about to stretch out towards the phone screen. "If it was me, I would just feel very moved," his bestie said blandly. "But my feelings wouldn't be ignited by you." "But he should be tired, too," Zhi Xiaoduo said. "He told me personally that he didn't want to do this job anymore." His friend said, "Forget it, ba, the other person doesn't even like you yet. You might as well let someone introduce you to someone and find a comrade for a blind date to be a bit more realistic." Zhi Xiaoduo said, "If he doesn't like me, I'll never fall in love with anyone else." "You stop talking nonsense, ba," his bestie said over the phone. "Lao Niang's face is about to crack. I'm not talking to you anymore." Zhi Xiaoduo hung up and sighed helplessly. It had already been so many days. Should he ask Xiang Cheng to come over for a house call? But Zhi Xiaoduo didn't want to do something like that again, and he didn't want to define their relationship with money. Speaking of money, Zhi Xiaoduo didn't have that much. That bit of money that he had worked hard for and gave up both blood and sweat and tears to save up, wouldn't be enough in Xiang Cheng's eyes. Just when Zhi Xiaoduo was calculating how much money he could spend, trouble came to him. The landlord wanted to sell the house. Zhi Xiaoduo was stunned, and at least hundreds of mola fish died in his heart. "No way, ba," Zhi Xiaoduo said, "why are you selling the house?" The landlord said, "It's none of your business why I want to sell the house. There's already someone coming who wants to see the house, so you move out quickly, ba. Pack up and take some pictures for me, and I'll give them to the intermediary." "Thank you." Zhi Xiaoduo immediately had a terrible headache. He had already moved a number of times since graduation. Not having his own house really wasn't good. It was such a precarious feeling. As soon as the landlord opened his mouth, he had to move. Fortunately, he wasn't busy recently, so Ji Xiaoduo just worked half the day before spending the rest of the day apartment hunting. All apartments were expensive, and the ones near the Design Institute cost 3,000 to 4,000 a month. Ji Xiaoduo's annual salary was about 200,000, but he was very economical in spending money. After all, he didn't have a car or a house, and it was only proper to save money to buy a house early on, so he couldn't spend it carelessly. In the end, he took a fancy to a garden community. It would only take 15 minutes to get to work by bike and the environment was quiet, but the price was very expensive. For a fully furnished 2-bedroom and 1-living-room apartment, the rent every month was 3,600, and he would have to pay rent for 1 year in advance. Like that, more than 40,000 would just be gone. Ji Xiaoduo's money was all wrapped up with financial managers, and he only had a few tens of thousands in spare change for meals. If he paid out the entire rent and then suddenly needed money, it would be very troublesome. He could only go ask his friends if any of them wanted to share the rent as roommates, or if he could borrow some money from them. Ji Xiaoduo remembered a university classmate named Wang, who had come to work as a local urban rail supervisor and lived in a shed built on the construction site. He had been talking before the entire time about getting together and getting something to eat, so he could ask him at the same time if he wanted to rent a house in the city. Both sides were very familiar with each other, and they were also friends who had copied each other's homework in fluid mechanics, so Ji Xiaoduo wasn't so polite when he spoke. "Are you there? I'm going to die of poverty law. I'm looking for a roommate to rent a 2-bedroom and 1-living-room apartment with. Are you interested? Please do me a favor, come and save me. This mola fish is going to be maltreated to death by my landlord, okay? I have no money law." Then Ji Xiaoduo didn't even think about it before pressing send and posting it to the group chat. Once he realized what was going on, Ji Xiaoduo let out a crack, and thunder rolled. Ah! Ji Xiaoduo howled in the spring breeze. I actually sent such a stupid message to the group chat? Oh my god! Ji Xiaoduo was about to slam his head against something to kill himself. Following that, Ji Xiaoduo received countless messages. You still haven't bought a house yet, huh, Chi Xiaomola? What, renting a house? Come live at my house. Your sister-in-law is talking about you. I'm sorry, oh, he. This little girl's mortgage will last for another 35 years. Worker Ji, go find yourself another maid ba. Hello, I'm manager Huan, a real estate agent. The apartment you visited last time. Ji Xiaoduo. Among the numerous messages, there was one from Xiang Cheng, flashing again and again. Who is this? Ji Xiaoduo immediately replied to him, saying, I was careless and sent it to the wrong people. I'm Ji Xiaoduo. Are you feeling better? I'm already feeling much better. Ji Xiaoduo's heart was pounding. He knew that Xiang Cheng was just being polite and didn't mean anything else by it, but he was still very happy after receiving this text message. Are you looking for someone to rent a place with you? Since Ji Xiaoduo didn't answer, Xiang Cheng actually called. Ji Xiaoduo trembled and picked up the call. It was quite quiet on the other end, and Xiang Cheng's voice was a little low. He asked, Are you looking for someone to share rent with? Ji Xiaoduo, yes, I sent the message to the wrong place just now, I'm sorry to disturb you. Xiang Cheng asked, I'll share the rent. When is the move? Happiness had come too soon, just like a tornado. Ji Xiaoduo was immediately beside himself with joy and said, You. Do you want to see the place first? I'm free tomorrow afternoon. I'll clock out early and call you then. Xiang Cheng let out an N and hung up. Ji Xiaoduo immediately cheered and plopped on his bed to roll around. At this time, his cell phone rang with another call. Hello, Xiaoduo. I'm Wang. The other party said, are you looking for someone to share a place with? Perfect, I don't want to live in a shed anymore. During the summer, it's... Xiaoduo immediately and reflexively said, hey, what sharing a place? Everything is just your delusion. I'll invite you to dinner next week, okay, I'm hanging up first. Wang. The next afternoon, Xiang Cheng came by bus to pick up Xiaoduo, and they took the subway to the neighborhood to have a look around. Xiang Cheng was obviously very satisfied with the unit. Where do you live now? Xiaoduo asked. The company dormitory. Xiang Cheng replied, it's annoying, there are always people asking about this and that, and they also look through my things. I don't want to continue living there anymore. Xiaoduo said, that's true, I also don't like my privacy being violated. Xiang Cheng's expression changed a little, and he seemed to be thinking about something. He asked, then will I disturb you by living with you? The unit faced south and the light was very good. There were 2 bedrooms and 2 living rooms, and there was even a small study on one side of the living room, as well as some half-dead flowers planted around. Xiang Cheng put his hand on Xiaoduo's shoulder, and they looked out together. On the 12th floor, the spring sunshine was brilliant. Xiaoduo felt like he was planning his future life with his boyfriend, and he couldn't ask for more. The underground garage here? Xiaoduo asked the agent again. Xiang Cheng waved his hand and said, I don't have a car. The ones I drove before were all borrowed from friends. The agent said, the owner of this unit is a scholar who works in Australia and only comes back once every several years. It shouldn't get sold in the near future. Xiaoduo nodded and Xiang Cheng said, it's a good apartment, should we move in tomorrow? Is that too much trouble for you? Xiaoduo hurried to say, it's no trouble, no trouble. I'm going to sign the contract right now, and I'll move here when I get the key. Xiaoduo went to pay for the deposit, and Xiang Cheng was a little embarrassed. After thinking about it, he said, wait. Xiang Cheng wanted to pay and said, I have 400 in cash. Xiaoduo was eager to fully pay for it himself and hurried to say, don't worry about it. Xiaoduo turned his head to glance at Xiang Cheng and laughed happily. He felt that the Xiang Cheng today was different from all the times he had met him before. He seemed to have something on his mind. It must be the problem of where he would stay, and to Xiaoduo, nothing could be better than being able to help Xiang Cheng. After seeing the apartment, they put down the deposit, made an appointment to sign the contract the day after tomorrow, and then had dinner together. Xiang Cheng treated Xiaoduo to stir-fry at a restaurant. In a bad mood? Xiaoduo asked. No, Xiang Cheng said, I'm in a good mood, a very good one. Thank you, should I give you an oil massage tonight? Xiaoduo was a little worried. He had originally thought he could let it go, but when he saw Xiang Cheng, he couldn't help but think that he might as well rent the house and keep Xiang Cheng. Forget everything else, he could just let Xiang Cheng be his boyfriend and give him 10,000 or 20,000 yuan a month. Xiaoduo could still afford that. However, with Xiang Cheng's expenses, 20,000 yuan may still not be enough. People in public relations all seemed to spend a lot. Xiaoduo had inquired many friends curiously, which made all the tall, rich, and handsome people around him think that he was looking for a MB. They even enthusiastically introduced some to him, causing him to be in a mess for a long time. But according to this understanding, Xiang Cheng shouldn't be posting naked photos online to draw in business. Wang Ren mentioning fast food night packages was just him joking around. Xiang Cheng's type at most accompanied clients and did oil massages, and besides, they wouldn't appear at the men's health club every day. Some more sociable young masters could even find a rich person who could take care of them for a long time. Of course, the novelty of a rich person wouldn't last long, and more young masters would have fun on occasion. When their time was almost up, they would make friends with the next one. Now, it seemed that Xiang Cheng was going to say goodbye to his last client and prepare for a new life. Zhi Xiaoduo felt that the distance between them had grown shorter by a step. The next day, he was so happy that he didn't even know his own name as he carried a spring in his step as he swept around his unit. On the day of the move, the things Zhi Xiaoduo had most of were books. Wang Ren drove his car to help Zhi Xiaoduo move, and they specifically chose an auspicious day to make the move. "Hello, little Mola," Wang Ren said. Wang Ren and his friends had formed a partnership to set up a structural design studio. He was affiliated with a design institute, and his family had tens of millions in wealth. He was the one who had done best among their classmates, and he had the style of a boss, but he still bared his arms and helped Zhi Xiaoduo move things, running up and down. What? Zhi Xiaoduo couldn't control his happiness. "You're nearly about to become a brainless sap." Wang Ren said, "You like Xiang Cheng?" "Right." Zhi Xiaoduo. No, what are you saying?" Zhi Xiaoduo reflexively turned to leave, but Wang Ren grabbed him back and said in apparent earnestness, "I heard from David that Xiang Cheng is going to resign. I think, looking at him, maybe he likes you." Zhi Xiaoduo was so surprised by that, and he asked, "Really? Really? Did he tell you?" "Those ducks," Wang Ren said, "do you think they will accompany clients when they're not making money? Last month, he went to Lianhua Mountain, took care of you for a full 2 days and didn't charge you a cent. I think he probably wanted to obtain your affections." Zhi Xiaoduo's happiness was completely beyond description. Okay, I see," Zhi Xiaoduo said, his words not matching what was in his heart. In fact, besides falling in love, there are many other important things in life. Based on what you said, it would seem like my whole brain is just filled with finding a boyfriend. I'm going now." "You." Every time, Wang Ren tried to lecture Zhi Xiaoduo. It was as if he had run into some strange building design where the centroid and the center of mass were so far apart that he couldn't find the load-bearing points. Wang Ren said, "You come back right now. Let's be clear, you can play around but you can't be too serious about it." "Understood," Zhi Xiaoduo said perfunctorily. Wang Ren said, "You have to make that point clear to yourself." The floor was blanketed by cardboard boxes, and the elevator sounded. Xiang Cheng got stuck in the door and Wang Ren and Zhi Xiaoduo immediately stopped talking. Xiang Cheng, Wang Ren, and Zhi Xiaoduo were all silent. Xiang Cheng seemed to have no idea that Wang Ren would come and instinctively kind of wanted to step back. Zhi Xiaoduo. Wang Ren. Xiang Cheng. Zhi Xiaoduo almost thought that someone had come to the wrong door. The Xiang Cheng today was completely outside his expectations. He was wearing migrant workers' clothing, camouflage trousers, and huilai shoes. He had on a yellow polyester vest on top, and he carried a huge woven bag on his back. Zhi Xiaoduo's chin dropped to the ground. His first instinct was to grab his cell phone to take a picture. "You." "Hello," Xiang Cheng said. Wang Ren, "Wow, did you just come back from moving bricks around?" Xiang Cheng put down his woven bag and stood outside the door. Zhi Xiaoduo was completely stunned. He thought of the photo that his bestie had showed him, and it was actually real. "Wang Ren, you. Wang Ren's thoughts had already been blown into complete disarray as he covered his heart with one hand, waving his other hand and saying, "I'm going to rest a bit." Xiang Cheng stood in front of Zhi Xiaoduo and asked, "Should I take off my shoes?" No. Zhi Xiaoduo reacted and asked hurriedly, "Have you finished moving?" Zhi Xiaoduo helped Xiang Cheng push and wiggle around, working hard and pushing his woven bag through the door. Xiang Cheng glanced at the cardboard boxes on the ground. "So many, are they all yours? Are there any more?" Zhi Xiaoduo said, "I'm done, where's your stuff? I'll help you move it." "Xiang Cheng, this is it." Xiang Cheng dragged the woven bag in and took a look around. Zhi Ziaduo hurriedly said, "The one on the left is yours. You stay in the master bedroom, the light is good there," Xiang Cheng said before dragging his woven bag into the second bedroom. "What's the matter?" Wang Ren asked in a low voice. "I understand now," Zhi Ziaduo said. "He thought that we'd have to clean after moving into a new house, so he changed into such old clothes. In fact, he has good taste, it's Chinese punk style." Wang Ren, "Oh? Then why didn't he switch the Hualai shoes with liberation shoes? And he's even carrying around a woven bag? Is the woven bag LV brand? You leave it alone, La." Zhi Ziaduo gritted his teeth and said, "Even if he wears big baggy pants and carries around a sack, he's still my male god." "Wait a minute," Wang Ren said, "I'm taking back my words. This person needs to be investigated before you can consider whether or not to be his boyfriend. Weren't you the one who introduced him to me?" Zhi Ziaduo gritted his teeth as he pointed it out. "Us brothers were just letting you play around. We didn't think this far." Wang Ren threatened, "Definitely don't fall for it. This duck may have a lot of schemes in his heart. I'll go back and ask David what's going on." End chapter.